we are going to talk about the cost, or it costs what it costs. If you're writing, it costs what it costs. But in short, greatness has a cost. And then if you want greatness in your life, there are no options. Like, you don't have any options. You don't want to have any options, because if what you want is great and someone tells you, for example, you go to buy something and someone tells you, oh, this is of a superior quality, oh, this is really, really nice, but you really know that you're going to be stretching budget-wise. I don't know if that has happened to you. And then someone offers you another thing that looks like the thing and tells you that, you know what, but this is a bit cheap, you know, this is a bit affordable, but it's also nice. And the wise ones have a way of telling you how nice it is, how good material, they make you touch it, they make you feel it. But in your head, remember, you are stuck with number one, okay? You are stuck with number one. And then sometimes you're like, you know what, I think let me just go and organize myself. And because you don't want to settle for the option, what you want is the greatness, and you do not want to talk yourself out of the greatness to take what looks like the real thing. The chiringa samona. I think you remember that advert. Oh, that even this one works like. I don't want what works like. I want the real thing. I don't know if some of you are so bent on, and you're like, even when it comes to greatness, when there are cheaper courses, they were there. Why are you here? You wanted something, you knew there was value, and you were like, you know what, I'm not giving myself an option to get out of this value. I seriously want this value, so I am going to go for it. And whatever it means, I am going to go for it. So that means it costs whatever it costs. We can never bargain on our life. We can never bargain on our greatness. We can never bargain on the kind of dream and the vision that we have in our heads. And let me tell you, even the kind of dream and the vision that you have in your head right now about where you are headed, it is not even 1%. But do you see, in your mind it is great? In your mind you see that it is great. But God is going to amaze you. Like, you're going to be on some stages speaking to some people, and you will be pinching yourselves and be like, am I the one? Like, am I the one here? Am I the one doing this? Sometimes you'll watch your videos and you'll be like, am I the one who said that? Like, you're also learning from your own. You're like, you're even about to take notes, but you're the one. You're the one who shot the video, but you feel like things are passing by. Because there is a revelation, like something took over. There is a place where you're going to get, and it will no longer be you. You will get lost. Like, someone asks you a question and you did not read about it, you did not research about it, but because you have been in these sessions, because you have researched, because you have read, because you have equipped yourself, things will start to flow. And you will even be afraid. You'll be like, is it me that is doing this? Okay, so it costs what it costs. And one thing about greatness that I also want to hint on is, you can hate someone or something for being great, but you can never deny their greatness. Hate them all you want. Don't like them all you want. Talk about them all you want. Diss them all you want. You know, like, do anything, all the bujogoli in the world. Make sure when you see them on TV, do you see her? Do you see that Kale, that hair? Kale, that what? Talk about anything that you want to talk, because I know that we are all victims somewhere, you know? But again, you can never deny that they are great. Even in your heart, you will know it. That the reason, if some people will know it, that the reason as to why they want to pull you down so badly, it's because you are past certain level. You're not average. You're not normal. And you're not being normal is going to annoy many. And guess what? It's going to annoy even people that are closest to you. How do they call themselves? Who do they call themselves? You get it? So it doesn't mean that because you're paying the price, that you have paid the price for it all. No, you have paid the price to be great, but greatness comes with battles. But one thing is, it's undeniable. Okay, he stole the money. You can never deny the fact that they have the money. Whether they stole it, whether they went to the lake, whether they sacrificed a human being. But do they have the money? They have the money. I'm not saying that it is good, but just like I am equating that to greatness, that once you are great, they will say, haven't you heard how some people say, she got favors in order to get where she got. Or he got favors to get where he got. Why didn't you get the favors? Were the favors segregative? Were they choosing the color of the skin? Were they choosing Bachiga over Baganda? What were they doing? What was the favor doing exactly? Okay, so sometimes after hearing such things, you go back and you're like, you know what? Sometimes it's better I keep quiet. It's better, yes, if I don't understand it, I just back out. And then if I feel any amount of envy or any amount of what, then I should go back and tell God, check my heart. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. You get it? Because no one has sealed with that you can't grow anymore. That means you have the potential to grow. Just like they say, because we all have the potential to grow, to be great. But it's the cost that we are actually talking about, okay? And there's a time I actually told you that success is not owned, it is rented. Do you see even the great? The great don't have to back off from refining their greatness. They have to keep refining their greatness. Because success is not owned. You don't get to a place and say, I have enough money. Because then you're going to be spending every day. So that means while you say, I have money, it is going somewhere. So that means it can get depleted. That means you need to keep working to make more as it goes. So you can never say, I am. When you say, oh, I am famous. Guess what? In Mundibujo, no one knows you. In Masaka, no one knows you. You get it? So you can never get to a place and say, this is it, Nchukubye. I have beaten it. You can never get to that place, okay? So if you want to be great, you don't have many options. If you want to be great, you don't have many options. The only option is to know what it costs, what it takes, and you go and do exactly that. We have to suppress the inferior because of what we want. Okay? You suppress it and say, I don't want this. I don't want sleep in this moment. What I want is growth. So you realize that in every equation, there's something that you're suppressing in order to get another. Because right now, you'd have had so many, maybe parties, maybe a play, you'd have gone home to sleep, maybe you'd have gone, so there are so many things, but you suppress something that you would have loved and said, okay, this is a want, but again, it's not great. I want great. So I am going to suppress the inferior, and then I am going to go for what I need to go for. Whether it's expensive, whether I have to work hard at it, whether I have to show up every day, whether I have to pray, whatever I need to do, I am actually going to do it just to make sure that I get to the things that I want. So that means that one of the costs of greatness is self-denial. Self-denial. You just decide, I am just not going to be anywhere doing anything that I want, but I am going to be in a specific place doing exactly what I want. The world might not deem it as important, but it is important to me. You just say, what we usually say in relationships, in order to get to a great relationship, sometimes you need to put down so many bad relationships. You're like, this is inferior. So I must get to a place of terminating it, or I must get to a place of letting it go if I really need. The problem is some of us think that, you know what if I lose this and I never get? So now you hold on to the inferior knowing that it is inferior. You say yes. You even walk down the aisle to the inferior knowing that it is inferior. And then you keep telling yourself, but all marriages have problems. We will find a way of handling them. But you clearly are walking down the aisle and you know that you're accepting something that is inferior. So that means you have to be able to get to a place of saying, you know what, I can put this down whether I don't get any other. I have to put this down. There are people that have told me a number of times, and they're like, but I know that I don't love him. But again, when will I get the one that I love? You know, it's two-way traffic, especially with millennials and Gen Zs. With the Generation X and the baby boomers, it's possible they would exist in a relationship without love. Love was not the first thing. Actually, the baby boomers, love was not the first thing. That is how a family would say, we got another family and they're really well disciplined if we can only get their daughter. So they will tell you, you will learn to love each other as you go. And indeed, they would stick around, even through the bad and through the thick. That is why they say, you know, those women used to cook. But they had no choice. It was chosen for them, and then they were told, we have burnt your bed, there is no room for you, do not come back. Because they knew that you would get tired. Maybe you would get married to someone. If the family has a name for having good character, it doesn't mean that they don't have a black sheep in that family. So it's possible there is one who is cantankerous. And yet the whole family, they say, is well disciplined. Now for you, you have married a gangster, you have married a weirdo, a drunkard, and the drunkard who comes and abuses you and insults you and beats you. And then they're like, you don't have to talk about it. You're insulting the other family. They have integrity and they have kept their name for a very long time. Now, when you come to the Generation X, the millennials, and the Gen Zs right now, as in, love is the first thing. I have to love you in order to be with you. It's possible that a man can love you, and you, a woman, if you don't love the man, you will not want to be close to them. You'll be like, you know what, I have tried, but I don't think this thing of love will come later will ever happen for most people. Because you also want to look at something pleasant. You want to you know, to be there, and you feel, you know, you love your person. You look at how some of you are. Okay, so self-denial says, I want something superior. I'm not going to take anything that looks like, but I want something superior. I want friends, but I prefer peace more. Like peace, like the peace of mind. So I'm not going to just keep any kind of company around me. Okay? Yes, I want company, but I prefer peace. So I'm going to have a heavy sieve so that whoever gets through the heavy sieve to come into my inner circle, whether it is 1 or 1.5 or 2 people. Yeah, I don't know how 1.5 looks like, but I prefer peace more than just having anyone around me. So you realize that you get to choose that, yes, I want success, but again, I have standards. That I want the money, that when someone is tempting you to take, you know, to be corrupt, you're like, you know what? I know I love the money. I know I have so many things to do with that money, but I love my integrity. I love my standards, and I'm not going to put them down, not for anything. You realize? Because then what is great is built over time. Greatness is built over time. So like integrity is built over time. Like peace is built over time. And breaking those things takes a snap of a finger. So that means you have to be in a constant battle of choosing what to dwell on and what not to dwell on. Okay? And when it comes to self-denial, it is a revelation that all are wants, but not all wants are the same. Yes, I want this, I want a house, I want a car, but you realize by the earthly standards, not everything is the same. If you want a house, all houses are not. There will be the good, the gooder, and the what? You people don't know past tense and present tenses. Not the goodest. So that means for everything in the world, phone included. That is why we keep graduating. Even when you were renting a house, maybe you rented a certain house and you went into another house and you went like, you go on climbing levels. That means things have levels. Everything on this world has levels. So even in this case, we are not settling for anything that looks like what we want. We want to go for what we want. If it is greatness, if it's a household name, if it is transformation that we want to take to the people, if we want to change their lives, if we want to not be just successful, to be significant, okay? If we do not just want to have money, but we want to be able to give our children's children inheritance, that means there is something that is greater than the other. That having money is okay. But having money, when you cannot pass on anything to your children's children, it is not success, it is not significance. That having money today, and yet what I want is expensive, and I can't take time to save for what I really want, and I just have to settle for whatever has come my way because it is cheap, we should be able to hate that and say, you know what, there's something I'm working towards. I am building something. You might not understand it, but I'm not going to build with grass. I'm not going to build with mud. I'm not going to build if it is cement. I will wait and build slow, but build with cement. I will build slow, but I will build something that cannot be burnt down, something that cannot be knocked down, something that is going to be strong. Even the Bible talks about it, that a wise man, before they embark on any building project, they calculate. I bet the person that built on the sand, they built a very quick house. Why? Because with the sand, you don't need to do too much work. You just do this, you scratch, and then you now have a foundation. But on a rock, that means this person spent more time digging the foundation than even building up. But they were like, you know what? A time will come and a storm will come. A time will come and a bad situation will come, and I don't want my house to be. The other one might be building very quickly, and it seems to everyone is like, oh my God, he's the richest man on the village. Oh my God, you see, he built a house in 1 month. Oh my God, you know, and everyone, you're our man. Everyone is, why? Because you have quick results. And so everyone is celebrating you. The one that is digging, everyone is like, but you're wasting your time. You're wasting. Why don't you just go and build over there next to him? Don't you see your friend has built a good house? And this person is like, I know what I want. It costs what it costs. And you can never bring down the cost and think that you're going to get what you want. The moment you bring down the cost, you're bringing down quality. You're bringing down longevity, you're bringing down durability, you're bringing down even the happiness it would have given to you. Just imagine, so for some of you, I know, you have ever wanted certain things, and maybe you were not in position to get that particular thing, but you got something that resembles it, or something that, how did you feel? In your heart, you always have the other picture. If it was like the other one, like you will even fail to use it. Even when it is a phone, that is when you'll feel like, but this one is like plastic. This one, when you type, things are not typing. And yet there is someone else that is using the phone that you are abusing as plastic, and it is their best phone. They are typing and everything is typing, and they're like, oh my God, I have never seen such a phone in my life. And yet, because now for you, your mind is informed about a different standard, now you want that standard. But every standard has a cost, right? There is a scripture, for those of you that are Bible readers, where Jesus says that if any man follow me, let him deny himself and take his cross. Let him deny himself and take. It was not an easy ask. Like it's not. That means he ranked himself as worthy, as one that was above, as one that if you really wanted to follow him, there are certain things that you had to put down. There are certain things that you had to deny yourself. There are certain things that you had to forget about and say, you know what, let me just carry this cross. Why? Because I want eternity, because I want a good life, or because I want to be close to him. You remember what he told Peter? That, you know what, go and say bye to your family. I want to make you into a fisher of men. So now you are forfeiting. What did he say to Lot? That leave your kindred, leave your folks, I will take you to the land that I will show you. You realize that for everyone that has a bit of greatness, even in the Bible, they had to forfeit certain things. They had to deny certain things. And I know that this is a hard one, by the way, to talk about. When I was coming to talk about this, remember, I'm in the series, and but I didn't declare this series, but I'm in the series where I'm showing you and I'm sharing with you some of the things that have made me who I am, and some of the things that I know for sure that I am still going to do even after 20 years, 50 years, 30 years. The thing of self-denial is not something, a concept that is starting now. It is a concept that I started doing 20 years ago. That if there is something great that I want, I have to be able to pay its price. I have to be able to deny myself of certain things so that I can get things that are worthy and things that are good. Building a brand. You know, it's easy to talk about how to build a glamorous, profitable brand. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be glamorous, I'm going to be profitable. And then some of us think, you're just going to have nice hair and just look nice, and that will be a glamorous brand. It can be a glamorous but dead brand. Aren't there coffins that look nice? So does glamour cut it? No, it doesn't. Not in this era, not in this industry, not to the people in this industry. There must be something more tangible, more value that you are giving to people than you looking glamorous. I actually say it should be, the glamour should be the last thing on your mind. The first thing is the content, what comes out of you. Should be pressed down, shaken together, should be researched, should be tested, should be applied. You should be able to practice multiple times before you even show up in front of the people. That when you open your mouth to speak, just like I said, greatness is undeniable. But let me tell you, you can come with all the glamour. You are putting on millions or whatever it is from your head to the toe, and then you open your mouth and everyone is like, oh my God. Everyone is afraid on your behalf. They're like, I wish the programmer just tells her 5 minutes. Oh, my 5 minutes are also long. And, you know, why? Because you're muttering and you're blabbering things that are not constructive, things that are not well aligned, things that do not give me value. I am tired. I came from wherever I came, whether I paid money or I didn't pay money, but I came here because there's something disturbing me. The people that come to our speaking engagements, the people that come to our pages, the people that come to us, it's because they have heavy burdens and they need someone that has discernment. Now, how are you going to have discernment while all you were thinking about was dolling yourself up and lifting your eyelashes? And that is all you were thinking about. That, oh, when I do my eyes like this, they should be able to see that, oh my God, I'm not here for your eyebrows. I am not here for your, what are they called? Your glittering eyeshadow. I am not here for that. Can you give me value? It's like a hungry man coming to you and then you tell them, oh, you know, I have $1 million in my bank account. What I want is a piece of maize. Can you give me that? And you're like, but that is too low. You know, I can afford better than that. Don't tell me what you can afford. Stop showing off. Give me something, as in, and don't even dare tell me God bless you. Bless me with what? Give me something that is going to take me out of this poverty. Give me something that is going to open my mind, that is going to turn on my light bulb, that is going to cause me sleepless nights, that will want me to transform my lives, that will want me to be better than I am today, that will give me hope that tomorrow can be better than today. So if you don't have that, keep quiet. Stay with your glamour. Mozola maso, go up and down. Stay with your God bless you. We don't want to hear any of that. Because the greatness that I talked about does not include eyeshadows and eyebrows. The greatness is you yourself. Do you know that you can go in a certain environment and change the whole environment by the mere fact that you are in that environment? People are stagnated. People have built businesses and businesses are dying. People are exhausted. They have invested and things are not working out. They have worked at a marriage. They have been obedient. They have submitted and the marriage is not moving an inch. And all of a sudden, you want to come and do this. No. No. There is a price for greatness. It costs what it costs. You cannot bring down its cost and start putting up your own cost and say, if I do this, if I calculate this, awofuse muferi. You want to kutufera. We want to give people real help, right? We want to give people we want to be rivers of living water. You're flowing with dirty water, but flowing from a glamorous body. You're not even sure whether there is any water flowing. But for you, you are. So, and what I'm about to say, some of us might not love it, but the acceleration, the evolution, the elevation that we all want, some of it is on the other side of the adversities that we go through. There are two ways of learning. We can learn by instruction, and sometimes what we don't want to admit to, we can learn from adversity. No one wants to choose that path. It is hard because just look at it. When you talk about growth, you know, we throw these statements around and we talk about, oh, accelerated mentorship, and you're like, yeah, let me just go and accelerate. No. Some of us are going to go through different adversities. When you are here and you go through an adversity, I'll be the one that will stand by your side. I'll be patting your shoulder, but I'll tell you, you will go through it. But why? Because I know the moment you go through it and you go through to the other side, you are not, as in, the mentorship is going to make a lot more sense to you. Why? Because you will have something to give. There will be lessons that I didn't teach here in class, but adversity taught you. That sleepless nights taught you. That when I tell you to write the 50 problems, now you will not be glamorous thinking, now what are my 50 problems? I even don't know what my niche is. I'm not so sure. If I can start thinking, I got like 3 of them. And I'm like, what? You got 3 problems? The people that you want to help have 3 problems? So the day you spend a sleepless night, you'll be like, but you know there are many people who are spending sleepless nights. Yeah. Eh? The day the person that loves you, that you trusted the most, makes a turn and betrays you. But do you know that people are being betrayed everywhere, every second of the day? And I'm like, Like seriously, no one will ever pray for adversity, okay? No one. And I can never pray adversity over everyone. But I will tell you that if you are going to be that refined vessel, adversity does not have to be too big. But every adversity teaches. But even you being stagnant, even you wanting to break through and the breakthrough is not coming, even you wanting to make the money and the money is not coming, you're calculating and things are not adding up, that is adversity. Because then you're going to work twice as hard. You're going to show up twice as hard. You're going to pray. You're going to fast. You're going to read. You're going to show up to conferences. Why? You want something better. But if everything was coming on a silver platter, you'll be like, you know what? What am I looking for? Like, what am I looking for? That is why sometimes you need to even create discomfort for yourself. Yes. You can't grow in comfort. There is no growth. In saying, you know what? I have it all. There is no growth. But the good thing about God, that yes, you will be complete in one area, or you will be happy in one area, and another area you will be We talked about Nehemiah last time, and we said Nehemiah was in the palace. He was eating, he was drinking, he was very well, right? And then someone dares to come and tell him that Jerusalem is sleeping in ruins, and the fence is down, and like the whole city is down. And now he's blessed and burdened at the same time. Blessed and burdened. And that is where he decides and is like, you know what? I pray, let me pray for favor. Let me go to the king. And before even, when he walked into the king's palace, the king asked him, what do you want? But he had to take time to pray. And then he says, if I found favor before you, these are the list. Nehemiah had a list. You know, back in those days, you would not just go to the king. You remember the days of Esther? You would not just walk into the king. Like the king had to even show mercy that he would put his rod on you to show that he has accepted. If he does not accept, my friend, you are gone case. You don't just show up just anywhere. But people would pray. Even Esther prayed for favor. And he was like, before I go to see that, please pray. All the Jews pray. Before I go to see the king. So that when I go, I will find favor in his eyes. Okay? So we're talking about value. We're talking about growth. It is achieved through activity. Some of us, we talk about growth and we think we are growing. I want growth. Me, I don't want to go to places where there is no growth. Growth is not a thing. Growth is activity. It is achieved through what you do, number one. And then number two, through what is done to you. That is the part that we don't want to hear. So today I only brought bad news. Through what you do and through what is done to you. Any kind of growth, even when it comes to spiritual, by the way, there is passive, there is active. The passive is when, you just do what others are doing. No more things, okay? But again, there is one that happens after something has been done to you. And then you learn, people are not easy. I have to be selective. How else would you pray for discernment? After something happens to you, that is when you're like, you know what? I need a discernment. And then you work for this, you look for. So even when it comes to our normal life, we have the passive, and then we have things that happen to us. They are not passive. They are aggressive. They come and shock us. They come and wake us up, and they come and take us by surprise. Some of them, has tragedy ever warned? It's like, now, the day after tomorrow, I am going to, so-and-so is going to betray you. Prepare yourself. Has tragedy ever warned? It has never warned. Because no one ever chooses to suffer. I don't choose to suffer. People don't choose childlessness, do they? No. People don't choose loss, business losses. People don't choose a loss of a loved one. They don't choose their things that we do. Do people choose heartbreaks? No. Do people choose to be stuck? No. No one chooses that. But it chooses you. It is something that happens to you. And guess what? It is something that happens for you. Because most of the times when we think that things are happening to us, then we overreact, then we cry, then we wail. But we know that it's happening for me. That is the change of perspective. When you look at it the other way and you're like, what's in this for me? What do I have to learn in this? But so many of us, we take things at face value. And definitely that when the pain comes, you're not going to say that you have lost a business and all of a sudden you say, but God, what are you teaching me here? It's very rare that you will do that. When a business, you lose a business or something happens or whatever it is, the first thing is pain. The first thing is getting angry. Yes, sorry? What did I do to God? Why me, of all people? Why me? What did I do? Am I the worst person on earth? So you see the questions that you're asking yourself? Wrong questions. Because they are getting you into depression, they're getting into stress, and they're not building you anyhow. But that is what we do. Remember we said, and those that are just joining us, that it costs what it costs. Greatness has a cost, okay? And we said that some of the things happen, we do them, we achieve it by activity, we achieve it by studying, we achieve it by researching, we achieve it by doing whatever it is that we do. But today I wanted to broadly paint a picture that there is there is another side of this coin, and that coin is the things that happen to you. The things that are done to you. Those are things that you should never forget. So that means next time you look at a problem, I know that yes, you will first cry, you will first react, you will first get angry. But after getting angry, I need you to be able to calm down and look at it again and say, what must I learn from this? And let me tell you, there will always be lessons. Looking back at the problem in hindsight, that is why most betrayals happen are done by the people that are closest to us, because you already checked their box, because you already checked them and they are okay. And so you don't think that anything can actually happen. And all of a sudden, something happens. And you're like, where do we hide? Where do we hide? But the thing that I love about tragedy, because these are things that I've gone through again and again, is that the next time it happens, the impact on your life is very limited. That even when it comes as a flood, you will be like, you know what? I have gone through certain things. There is a muscle that I have amassed over time. As in, I have learned, just like Paul says, that I have learned how to live in scarcity and how to have plenty. And as in, that is not something that intimidates me anymore. So even when a day comes and I don't have food, I'm not going to say I'm dead. I'm not going to cast my hands on my head and say I am dead. That, you know what, I have been betrayed left, right, and center, and right now there is nothing a human being can do that I will say that is new under the sun. Let them try. Someone does something, but you're like, you know what, that is not going to deter me. It is not going to keep me away from the greatness that I see, or from the greatness that is inside of me. So I'm going to just have to put down certain things. I'm just going to overlook certain things. I'm just going to ignore certain things. Or I might as well pick the lessons because they are painful, and then I will apply them sometime later in my life. Okay? Because some of these things, they don't have any criteria. Do you know that some of us think because, I'm going to make super good decisions, I am going to select my men so well that no one will ever break my heart again. Wanji? I'm going to be very careful when I'm selecting the ladies. I know some men that lie to themselves, even the ladies that lie to themselves. I'm going to be this. Do you know that our decisions sometimes can be good, but still the outcomes turn the other way around? Do you know that you can eat healthy and then they will tell you have cancer? And you're like, I have not been eating oil, I have not been eating what, I have not been eating. Have you seen people that they're declared to have cancer, and you're like, clearly in their lives they have not eaten even a quarter of all the bad things I have eaten in the world. Do you see that? That you can be a Jesus that has come to save, and Iscariot betrays you. Wanji? Because you think about it and you're like, what was he up to? Like, the man has been there for him. The man has paid his tax. The man has encouraged him. The man has been there for him. That you can be good to people and people can decide to be bad to you. It doesn't mean that when, you know, sometimes when we say that what you sow is what you reap. Now, I want to tell you that what I am talking about today goes against the law of sowing and reaping. For the first time, I have to contradict myself. You can sow good and reap bad. Does it mean that you should stop sowing? No. Because in due season, if you do not, the same Bible says that never stop doing good. In due season. And I want to declare this in your lives, some of you, this is your due season. You are in your due season. It is not just a rainy season, sunny season, whatever seasons that we know. Now, on top of the seasons that we know, just know due is also a season. So whenever you're talking about seasons, Wanji, you're surprised. Yeah, I'm adding due is also a season. So whenever you're saying, which season are you in? You're like, I'm in my due season. This is the time that God will manifest, that God will show up, that his greatness will show up, that I will be, taken, announced to the nations. Okay, that my page, I thought I was just impacting people in Uganda, but my goodness, the world is actually looking out for you. That people from Mozambique, from Zambia, from Malawi, from wherever, they will follow you and they will like what you do. They will pay. Some of you are going to do mentorships, huge mentorships. So many. There is nothing good that does not have any hindrances. There is someone who is thinking, why does she have to be the one? Why? Eh? Why? There is someone who even told me, by the way, to my face, why do you have to be the one that has a good marriage, the one that is speaking good things, the one that is speaking? And that is after I got to know that they were actually up to something. And so, like, all hell broke loose. So don't think that, changing lives and transforming lives and being a public speaker, I'm just going to be a darling and people are just going to clap their hands and people are just going to love on me and everywhere everyone will be saying. That is why, some of us, people will be clapping for us, but we will be in tongues. Yeah. You will get somewhere, you will think that, by the way, someone has actually, this has happened, and I think I've told you before, that whenever I travel, I have never bought my own air ticket, booked my own hotel room, as in, it's because I'm going to speak, I'm going to serve, I'm going to do all these things, but someone pays an air ticket and pays for the hotel, and after that, they actually want to poison you. And you might never know the extent and the depth of people's annoyance, envy, jealous. You will never know. It runs deep. And sometimes people avail themselves to be used by the enemy. Yeah, because you can choose to say, you know what, yes, I don't feel good about that person, but again, I don't think killing them is the answer. You realize? But there is when it comes and overtakes you, what if? And before you know it, you have done something wrong. So while you come into this and you're like, I want to be a life changer, I want to be a transformer, I want to build a good business, I want to tell you, just like Tim usually puts it, and it's in the Bible, that a big door of opportunity has been opened to you, but many are the adversaries. A big door of opportunity. You would think, let me start clapping. But when they tell you, many are the adversaries, that is when you learn to pray. That is when you learn to fast. That is when you learn to be humble. That it is not about dancing. It is not about showing off. This is real work. And to every good deed that you have done, there is always an opposing force. It's possible that you don't even know the things of God and you're not even minded, but I will tell you, to everything good that you have ever done, there will always be something that is opposing it. So that means you need power and energy, and you need something that is stronger than you to be able to stay. And you're like, how long have they been around? They've been doing that for the past 30 years, for the past 40 years. You think they've not annoyed people? You think they have not? They have. But the thing is, there is a hedge of fire surrounding them that no human can touch them. No mere human can touch them. And that I tell to people. The things that God has saved me from, I don't think I would have been here. I'm like, okay. You don't see anything. Have you ever tracked your footsteps to see whether there is something bad you've ever done? You go back and trace and you're like, maybe. And you're like, but I am not that kind. And you're like, but where are they getting their anger from? Like they have a source of anger that is deep-seated. So you think, if I text enough, if I cook enough, if I do what? I know you know where I am going. If I put on, if I lose, we think we put conditions for ourselves, and you think if I do this, then I can save my marriage, then I can save, or they will love me more. And guess what? Sometimes the people that end up doing only the good are the ones that are. So do you see where your decisions do not save you? You can say, you know what, I have learned from my mistakes. Now let me just do good. Let me just decide to be careful. Let me just decide. For example, I couldn't be careful enough to even decide and to say, you know what, I want to be alive. Do you know if someone wants to kill you, they can do anything? Anything that you even least expected. There is a time I entered a hotel room, and I remembered that there is a president that they actually killed using the ventilation, putting in poison. You know where you're like, you have gone to serve, clearly, but you know you're amongst enemies. And you enter into your hotel room, and it's a glamorous hotel room, and all you're thinking about is anything can happen in here. There is a time I even paid one of the people that was, these people that take luggages and stuff like that. I had to tell him that, you know what, this is my Ugandan number. It's on WhatsApp, and Wi-Fi is on every time. And actually, he had to even reroute me and put me on another. I was like, I want you to give me a route that has constant Wi-Fi, because I know hotel guests sometimes lose Wi-Fi. So I don't want anything to happen to me, and I don't have Wi-Fi. I can't even call for help. But by the time I go to those great lengths, that means there is a war, a big war, that you can't just walk away from just like that. So, when it comes to some of these stuff, we don't choose them. But there are so many lessons. I can't tell you how much I have learned when it comes to people management, when it comes to anger management, when it comes to controlling myself, when it comes to sitting with my enemy across the table, when it comes to receiving an accolade from my enemy. Yeah. You receive an accolade. They read your name. The whole room claps. And because they have no option, because they have to read your name. That's why I said you can hate greatness all you want. You can doubt it all you want. You can spit on it all you want, but it is undeniable. Greatness is undeniable. And in your heart of heart, you're like, if it wasn't for God, my name would have been forgotten somewhere. And sometimes this is what happens. God takes control from those that are your enemies to the ones that would never think of even changing or diluting or doing things. And so they thought they were in a place of authority, but all of a sudden there's someone that is placed above them, and now they have nothing to do but to obey. And sometimes it's not a good sight. You look at someone with clenched teeth, and they are so put up, they know nothing about you. They have never been to your country. They have never, as in clearly, you have never had any dealings with them. And you're like, but why are you so annoyed? That is why I tell you that you can't do good and you're like, I'm exempted, everything is good. No. Continue doing good, but I will tell you that as you do good, people are going to betray you. As you do good, people are going to backstab you. As you do good, people are going to do any dubious thing. Does it mean that they're going to bury you? They do not have the right. Even the enemy can only steal. But they're not going to kill your life. They're not going to kill your greatness. They're not going to dim your shine. It is only you who will dim your shine. Okay, so I want us to be able to conclude on this. I know that I'm not going to be able to say everything that I prepared to say, but your greatest transformation is on the other side of what you never wanted to, of what you never want to experience again. Some of us, when we go through poverty, you're like, I never want to go through poverty. So your greatest transformation is on the other side of things that you never want to experience again. So instead of binding, resisting, rebuking, okay, learn the lessons. And sometimes the strategy is to live, it is to stand, is to stay the course, even when things get hard. That's the strategy. There is no any other strategy. Sometimes you just have to live, to stand still and see the salvation of God. And sometimes you might have to bend but not quit. That's exactly what you bend but not quit. You stay the course, okay? And then your victory is tied to overcoming what you can't avoid. Your victory is tied to overcoming what you can't avoid. What you can't avoid are the den of lions. What you can't avoid is the fire that the three of them were thrown into. What you can't avoid is going through the tomb for 3 days before Easter or before resurrection, okay? But you have to decide and say, everything that I do under the sun, one thing I'm going to do for sure is winning. One thing that I'm going to do for sure is winning. At all costs. I will be discouraged, but winning. I will be beaten, but winning. I will be as in everything that happens, just decide and say, you know what? I might as well, I will be bruised, but I will still win. Okay, and quickly, I want us to go through the very last things that I want us to be able to share, because then we need to be able to learn how to address how I went through all these situations that I told you. And I've not even told you a quarter of those stories, because if I tell you, you will, like, your jaw will drop. You will freeze. You'll be like, nah, yeah. As in, just, does the devil just place people in people's, ways to just make sure that they make their lives hard? One thing that I learned is you have to address your anger. Anger is a response to injustice. But Lord, don't let your anger make you do something that you will regret or create another problem. You already have a problem, and now you want to create another problem. You've seen people who, because of anger, you had one problem, but now you also have to go to jail because you have killed someone or because you have done something weird, okay? So if you hate what you have, refuse to make it worse. If you forget anything that we have said today, don't forget that statement. If you hate what you have, refuse to make it worse, because your anger will always make things worse. You don't have money, you get angry, and then you kick people. You're making it worse, okay? You're going to pay for damages with money that you actually don't have. So decide so well, okay? Number 2, refuse to use your words wrongly. I have had to calculate my words. Sometimes I have had to keep quiet. Sometimes I've just had to look. You know how you have to look? You're like, you know what? Nebi nobi jakubwa. Nebi tao, you look at them like this, and indeed, nebi kolachi, nebi gwa. And I'm like, you know what? I am not going to even matter anything to anyone. Guess what? While there are people who are good at fighting silent battles, they want everyone else to see them as good, but they are busy pinching you. They are busy wanting to poison you. They are busy wanting to, you get it? And you're like, hey, people can be different. As in, you are here, everyone is saying, our man. But behind there, you are busy killing, you are busy doing weird things. So be very careful what you say, because sometimes what you say actually speeds up whatever they are planning to do. So you want to be very, very, very careful what you say and what you are able to do. Number 3, adjust your perspective. Sometimes, let me tell you, I have had to pray and say, God, like, show me. And let me tell you, for the last one, when it happened, this is what God told me. There is a new level you are going at. You have stayed on the same level for the longest time. There is a new level of money. There is a new level of influence. There is a new level of transformation. There is a new level of everything. So I had to let this chaos happen so that I will take you to the new level. Now, do you see that God has changed my perspective? Now, I see that person as an enabler into my success. Whenever I look, I'm like, what you didn't know what you were doing, but what you did was actually shaking me from being comfortable from where I was to getting into another dimension that God wanted to take me. So now my perspective is changed. Instead of bickering, instead of fighting, instead of words and anger, right now I'm in my chamber thanking God for the next level. And guess what? I'm on the way to the next level. And all of a sudden, I've arrived at the next level. And guess what? You who was used, you are still gnashing in anguish. And guess what? You are actually going down. That's exactly what happened in my scenario. Went down, I went up. And in my heart, I'm like, I didn't have to lift a finger to fight, but God fought for me. He had to fight for me, okay? So, and sometimes the last one, you have to accept assistance. I used to be this highly independent person. Like I would not accept any assistance and help from anyone. And God broke that. When all these things have been happening over the years, it has been one thing after another, by the way. I've never given you the full scope of it, but one thing after another, one person after another, both males, females. It's not, it has been war after war, battle after battle, but every after a battle, there is an elevation. That is one thing for sure that has happened. But again, I had to break and accept assistance. Some of these things happen so that we can know that we can't survive crisis on our own. We need a community. We need people that believe in us. We need mentors. We need people that can pray over us. I know some of us here are highly independent, but I pray that you will learn to accept. So those things, the things that have helped me to come to the other side of the tragedy of everything, and let me tell you, it has been winning after winning, it has been overcoming, and greatness. The greatness that God placed inside of me and has placed inside of you, it is undeniable. No one is going to deny it. It is seen, it is visible. Just go ahead and stay the course, do the things that you need to do, and nothing can limit you. I love you guys. Bless you.